Welcome to another edition of Business Talk. And my next guest, I'm going to let him do all the talking, but I just want to preface it before I introduce him with this little story. An asset manager friend of mine recently made 150,000 Rand this tax year doing crypto arbitrage. The problem is he used his foreign allowance limit for the year, which is R1 million, and the rest of the allowance, which one must apply for with a motivation of 10 million. And his issues, as he tells me, is that he could be making more money each year if these limits were raised, and he could spend that money in South Africa and pay more taxes. And those relatively arbitrary limits really haven't kept up with inflation over the last decade. It's a very interesting point, and hopefully something that Treasury is going to be keeping an eye on, because it seems like a win-win for crypto arbitrage, for the FX brokers, the taxman, and obviously for individuals who want to earn an extra income. Well, to find out more about crypto arbitrage and the story behind a company that really specializes in this area of Forex, it's a great pleasure to welcome Harry Scherzer, who's the CEO of Future Forex. Harry's a qualified actuary. He's got a strong financial and risk management background. He's also an FSP. And I mention that because so often people hear the word arbitrage and they think risky, or they think crypto and they think risky and unregulated. But really, it could be anything farther from the truth. Harry, welcome to the show.
Michael, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to speak to you and to your viewers and educate them on what I believe is an investment opportunity that's going largely under the radar in the South African context.
I believe that as well. And that's why I'm really excited to be talking to you about Future Forex. Just tell me a little bit more about Future Forex and how you generate returns for clients.
Michael, so we effectively are a company that started just over 2 years ago, and we've grown extremely rapidly because what we do is we perform almost facilitate the crypto arbitrage investment for clients. So just to take a step back, let's touch on what crypto arbitrage actually is.
Yeah.
Very simply, what it comes down to is that the price of crypto assets like Bitcoin trade at a premium in South Africa compared to abroad. So it's around a 2 to 3% premium at the moment. In other words, if you can buy crypto assets abroad and sell them at the same time in South Africa, you can make a relatively low risk, high yield return, right? And what we do as a company is we facilitate this process for clients. So we simply send clients rands abroad to dollars. We buy cryptocurrency in dollars. We send that cryptocurrency to South Africa and we immediately sell it in South Africa at a profit. And by doing so, we can get lucrative returns for clients. And we've managed to implement a fully hedged trading system, which ensures that clients aren't exposed to either crypto risk or Forex risk in the process.
What has given rise to this market inefficiency that you have this premium in the local market versus what you find offshore? Is it because of our capital controls inherently?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Michael. I'm happy that you touched on that up front, because that is the reason that this exists. That's the reason that clients are limited to, call it 100 to 200,000 Rand per calendar year, and can't exceed that. So these capital controls, I believe, are a blessing and a curse in that they're obviously a curse in that it limits how much you can make from this exceptional opportunity. But it's a blessing in that it's the only reason that this opportunity continues to exist and has continued to exist for as long as it has, and will do so for the foreseeable future.
But that said, so even if we want to keep that kind of blessing and curse scenario going, it would be beneficial if the Treasury were to at least lift those caps, which have been at 1 in 10 million for as long as I can remember.
Absolutely. I think the fact that it hasn't been increased with inflation or hasn't been increased at all is a clear indication that something needs to be done, or it needs to be revisited. And if those were raised, then that 100 to 200,000 Rand would be raised in proportion for what each person can earn.
Absolutely. So if you're raising it by 5 times, you're talking about a potential return there of R1 million a year. What are the current source of returns that one can expect?
So our clients have made returns, as I said, that it is capped by this 100 to 200,000 Rand, but in terms of percentages, our average annualized return at present exceeds 80% per client, which is absurd. It means that if a person puts in 100,000 Rand, they can expect to earn on average 80,000 Rand over the course of a year, which sounds excessive and sounds absurd, but obviously it's capped by this 100 to 200,000 Rand per annum. So if you're going to put in R1,000,000, you can't expect to earn 800,000 Rand. Instead, you'll earn that 100 to 200,000, but you'll earn it far quicker in a far quicker time frame.
What is that time frame? Because obviously there's the opportunity cost of my capital being locked away for a period of time. If I look at government bonds, I need to be locked into an RSA retail savings bond for a year to get kind of around 9.5%, 10%. What are the time frames for this?
So we can trade, Michael, once every day or two, which means that once you've got your application approved from SARS, which we do for you as a complimentary service. Future Forex take that on, no extra charge. Once that has been approved, then we've got 11 million Rand to trade. So depending on how much you invest, so for a client that invests 200,000 Rand, I hope my maths is right here, but that would mean they'd have to do 55 cycles to get through that 11 million Rand allowance. So if you're doing that once every day or two, conservatively, you can do that certainly within a year, possibly within 3 or 4 months, which is quite insane that in such a short time span, you can turn 200,000 Rand into possibly 400,000 Rand. And if you have a spouse, she or he has their allowance as well, and therefore you can double that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a remarkable opportunity. What are the risks? You hear something like this, and I'm sure so many people must say, no, it can't be. Harry, you're having a conversation with someone at the Bride. There's got to be a catch here. What are the risks?
Yeah, absolutely. So the risks typically would be any price fluctuations, being the crypto price fluctuations, the Forex fluctuations in that you send money abroad, you then buy crypto and only sell it at a later stage. But like I alluded to upfront, we've actually got a perfectly hedged trading model whereby as we buy crypto, we sell it instantaneously. And as we send money out the country, we bring it back instantaneously, which means that we've eliminated those risks to our clients. Being an actuary, obviously risk mitigation is extremely key to me and important to me. So I worked really hard up front on ensuring that this was the case. And I'm happy to say it is now the case. Now, that's not to say, Michael, that there's zero risks and you'll make money regardless. Of course, with any opportunity, there's always going to be risk. And the remaining risk in the case of Future Forex's crypto arbitrage is the risk of third-party default, so counterparty risk. Now, what we've done is we've done sufficient due diligence, or extensive, I should say, due diligence on all the third parties we use. As an example, we use Capitec's business division, Mercantile Bank, to do our Forex transactions, which means that should Mercantile Bank be unable to do our Forex transactions for whatever reason, that obviously is a risk to clients in that if they fail on delivering what they're expected to, it could reduce returns or hamper returns. But that said, we've done over 3.1 billion Rands worth of Forex transactions through Mercantile, and we've never once had an issue with the money not going through at the rate expected. So we find this to be a very low and minimal risk, but not a zero risk, as with any investment.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is a pretty A-grade counterparty that you've chosen to work with. 3 billion in 2 years, phenomenal. Now, Bitcoin we know has been volatile this year. I think the entire crypto space has been volatile, especially with what's happened to stable coins recently. And if we look at Bitcoin just as an example, it's recently fallen from a high of around $70,000 in November last year. That's when the crypto market was at $3 trillion total market cap, to now around the $30,000 mark. It seems to have stabilized around that level following the whole stablecoin issue. How has that impacted your clients' returns?
Michael, I'm glad you asked that, because this is probably the key advantage of arbitrage. Our clients continue to make profits through this fall in the crypto market because we're not invested in cryptocurrencies, but rather taking advantage of a market inefficiency in the crypto space. It doesn't really matter what happens to cryptocurrencies, whether they go up, whether they go down, whether they stay where they are. That doesn't affect our clients. We remain unaffected. We are purely impacted by the price difference. And over this decline of crypto, the price difference has remained at a healthy 2 to 3% margin. So our clients continue to make money when other crypto investments are obviously falling. And this is the key advantage that often people say, I either don't trust crypto, I don't believe in crypto, whatever the case is. This is a way to take advantage of inefficiencies in the crypto market and make money off the crypto market without having to have any speculative judgment on where crypto is going to land up.
And obviously, I mean, this must be legal. What are the regulations around crypto arbitrage in South Africa?
So cryptocurrencies in South Africa are currently being regulated, but they're not yet regulated. But of course, crypto arbitrage is legal. The Reserve Bank has issued statements saying you may buy cryptocurrencies abroad using your SDA and FIA, which is that 11 million rand limit. It's all been governed. And when we do those applications for clients to the Reserve Bank, when it says reason for allowance, we always say crypto arbitrage, and it always gets approved, which shows us that they're fully aware of it, they know about it, and in fact, they tax it. It gets taxed as income, so they benefit from it as well. That said, as Future Forex, we understand that credibility is the hardest thing to get through. The idea of this isn't too good to be true. Yes, we're using Forex. Yes, we're using crypto, but this is a genuine return that's possible. And so what we've done in our to go over and above is we've actually become an FSP, so a financial service provider, and are regulated by the FSCA. On top of that, we've been audited by Mazars. So to increase credibility, we've done everything we can to show that everything we're doing is above board, that this is a genuine return, and we're just trying to make it accessible to the average South African.
And then obviously costs. I mean, everyone's going to sit down and say, right, what are the fees that you're charging for doing all of this? You are providing a great service, mind you, doing all of the paperwork, to get registered as an FSP, to get audited, all of that adds layers of cost into what you're doing to build that credibility. How much money do you make on your fees?
So Michael, what we do from a fee point of view, personally, I've always been avidly against the idea of management fees. I think if you perform badly for clients, it doesn't sit right with me that you go and take home your money and everyone else suffers. So Future Forex, in line with our transparency, in line with our ethos of transparency and alignment with clients, we don't take a management fee. Instead of that, we take a percentage of the profits. And this ensures that we are perfectly aligned with our clients in that the more money we make for them over the year, the more money we make for ourselves over the year. And this creates an element of comfort that we're not just trading for the sake of it. In fact, we're sitting and watching the conditions and watching for the best times to trade. And only then do we pull the trigger.
I love that idea of alignment, and I couldn't agree with you more. This idea of a management fee and you share in all of the upside and none of the downside is really what has built a lot of distrust into the whole financial services and advice model. So yeah, it's really fantastic. I'm going to put you in touch with my mate. How do our listeners get started if they're interested in investing? Where's a good place to start?
So Michael, there are two options. Either if they're ready to sign up, they've heard enough, they can go to our website, futureforex.co.za, and click the register button. However, for those listeners that feel like this is interesting, but they'd like to speak to someone one-on-one to address individual concerns or individual questions, you're welcome to go to our website, futureforex.co.za, and you'll see that there's a get in touch button. And we have very skilled business development representatives who will be able to get in touch with you, answer your personalized questions to get you to a point where you're ready to get started, hopefully.
Fantastic, Harry. Well, you're going to be hearing from me and my mate soon, no doubt. I think it's a wonderful opportunity at a very low risk, and what you've done from a business perspective is also a fantastic entrepreneurial story. South Africa needs more Harry Scherzers in this world. Thanks for sharing more about Future Forex with us here on Business Talk. Take care.